Hey YouTube, Logan with Hideaway Homestead coming to you today with another video on biochar. This is actually the second part of how to make biochar. It's been a long time coming. I made the first one, golly, probably 3 weeks ago, a month. And I just haven't got around to making the second part. And I figured that I'd start this video just explaining the second step of how to make biochar, because I'm probably not gonna do even half of the steps that you're supposed to, or well, that most people do. So when you make biochar, you'll start out and you'll burn like I showed in the first video, and I'll have it in a playlist with this video. And you burn it down, rob all the oxygen, and you're basically just left with nothing but carbon afterwards. And I've got in that video what it's supposed to look like, what it's supposed to sound like, what it's supposed to taste like, all that good stuff. And that's just char, naked char is what they'll call it sometimes. It's, you know, not charged with anything. And the chicks are being loud right now because they've been let out into the bottom of the pen with the ducks, so they're getting used to that. But anyway, you'll take that naked char after you've made it, and you've got to charge it with something. So some people do compost teas, some people do urine, you can do manures, you can throw it into a compost pile, which I think is an awesome way to do it. It's definitely low maintenance. You can let it pass through an animal. Animals can eat it, and when they poop it out, it's, you know, charged and everything, and then you can take that manure and you can put it around your plants. Today I'm gonna do the super lazy way that I like to do it, and that's, you know, passing it through animals, but also kind of just letting it compost in place and use it for bedding. That's another thing about biochar, is you can use it for bedding. In here in the duck slash chicken coop slash rabbit hutch, it started to get a little stinky in here because they've killed all the grass now and there's no bedding. So when your animals have nothing as far as carbon to mix with their manure, you get a manure overload and it starts to stink, you know, all that nitrogen. So I took all the bedding that was still nice and dry and barely had any chick poop in it at all. Surprisingly, I had enough in there that I strode it out. And now what I'm about to do is I'm going to put the camera down here. I've got my bag of... How did you get in here? I guess he climbed in the hole back there. I'll have to plug that up. That's one of our Squidwards there. We've got, well, we had 3 cats named Squidward, but that little guy there is our friendliest Squidward. And here's the biochar. Or, well, the naked char right now anyway. And get it up close. What you're supposed to do, you're supposed to take this and you're supposed to let it dry out. So you can put it on racks or, you know, spread it out in some kind of container, but you want to get it dry. This ain't dry. This is kind of dry. Because, you know, to cool it, you've got to soak it, so it's going to have a lot of water in it. The char will hold, I think it's 7 times its weight in water. So you'll get it to where it's really just charged up with water, which that's a good thing for your plants. But what I'm gonna do today to cut down on the smell in here is I'm just gonna dump this out onto the ground, because after you let it dry, after you've let it dry and then you charge it with whatever it is that you want, there's a step in between that where you go and you crush this up. Now I could take this bag, tape it up, and then run over it with my car. I've done that before. It works really well, really crushes up. The smaller the better. Now I am not worried about perfection in this. This is to make housing for microorganisms and to hold nutrients. So the smaller you can get it, the more surface area you'll have for those microbes to live. And that's a good thing. I'm not saying, like, you know, if you can make it into the finest powder you can get, that's the best. Like, do that. That's great. But there's also an easier way to do things. And considering how many projects I have going all the time, I need to do things the simplest way I possibly can. I mean, for heaven's sakes, it took me a month to get out the second part of this video just because I've got so many irons in the fire. But I'm just going to take this out and dump it real quick. And I'm just going to leave it in this pile. Now what's going to happen is the ducks are going to go there, they're going to pick through it, they'll eat some of it. The chicks, as they grow, they're going to pick through it. And as they pick through it, that stuff's going to dry and it's going to absorb manure. And then they're also going to walk on it, it's going to crush it, it's going to turn into fine powder, and it'll just mix in with this bedding. And that'll allow me to then come in, clean all this out, and you know, go and spread it on the garden somewhere. Or I may leave this just as it is and take down the pallet coop later after it's been filled up, and then maybe leave it for my dad to plant garden plants in if he wants to. It'll be extremely fertile soil in here. But that's, you know, something to think about is if you've got animals and you want to make biochar, it is pretty much this simple. Now, is it the absolute best you can get? No, but considering that, one, if you have to clear an area and you've got stuff that you need to get rid of, you can make the char, charge it with very little effort, and then you've got a really good quality compost from the bedding and manure and the char that are mixed in that then becomes biochar. And I think it's just a really awesome, simple way to do it. And it's maybe only 50% as good, but it's still 10 times better than just having the compost and the manure, because this is adding the component of making it last longer and improving your soils with the homes and the structure for the microorganisms. But anyway, made this back up. Sorry to disappoint if you were looking for the hard way to do this, but I feel like I explained it pretty well. If you want to get the maximum out of it, just one more time, after you've quenched the char, you take it, lay it out somewhere to dry. You can put it in a bag like I had, or if you can figure out something else to crush it, you crush it, maybe run it over with your vehicle and turn it into that fine powder, and then you can stick it in a bucket. I've stuck it in a bucket and peed in it, and that worked great. You can put manure in there, compost tea, or you can mix it into your compost. So pretty simple on the second step. Should have had this video done a long time ago, but hope that was helpful. If it was, leave a like on this video. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. Anything to add, subscribe to the channel for more. I make a video about this kind of stuff every day, and we'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks again for watching.